I am your host, John Keane. As always, I would like to thank you guys for joining me. Ask that you please add, follow, and check us out, www.spreaker.com/show/Best Damn Podcast. Also, check us out, the Best Damn Podcast.tv. Follow me, Instagram, Best Damn Podcast, Twitter, The Real Best Damn, and no matter what platform you're watching on, Facebook, YouTube, DLive, Periscope, make sure to subscribe, make sure to follow, hit that thumbs up, hit that like button, leave a comment, let me know what you think, and share. The number one way to support this channel is by sharing. So share that link, get it out there, that way new people can find us. Also, guys, keep in mind, we are viewer powered. So, if you would like to donate and support to the channel, you can do that by going to PayPal, Venmo, Patreon, or Cash App and Facebook Messenger Pay. All of the links are in the description box. And I have posted the last two private shows publicly for everybody. So if you haven't checked that out, go check it out. I posted in the community section on YouTube. It's on Patreon as well, unlocked for the public, unlocked for everybody. It's also been put into like the memberships and the subscriptions and all of that, as well as the Discord. And I have been asking that if anybody can support, please help us out. We've had half a month where I wasn't able to do anything because I wasn't here. So yeah, if you're able to, please give us a hand. Let's see who we got in the chat room. Looks like we have Seven Heaven, Odette, Jody Johnson. Hi John, love you. Hi Jody, I love you too. James Dunn, Uncle Skin, Biblical Smackdown over on DLive, Freedom Fighter, Old Hillbilly, Truth Spreader 101, and my volume is very low. Please turn it up. Let's see what I got going on. I noticed yesterday my volume was incredibly low too in the video. So I don't know what's up with that. Let's turn it up a little bit. Y'all let me know. Y'all let me know if you can hear me, if I'm coming through any louder. I do apologize for that. Not sure what's going on with that one. Let me go ahead and kill the music. Everybody let me know if you guys can hear me and see me fine. Don't know why the volume is so low. Pretty weird, man. Don't know why all of a sudden it's been doing that. Yesterday, can everybody hear me? Can everybody see me? Let me make sure it's not on my end or anything here. I don't see anything. Better. It says better. Okay. Better. You got the munchies, says Chicken Little. You can hear me? More grace. Thank you. Facebook Live, More Grace. Eben Harris, Facebook Live. Chicken Little, who's got the munchies. Beyond Rising, Nancy Lewis. Teresa Lee. Thank you. Stormwitch, Skywatcher, DLive. Thank you guys. I appreciate everybody. I don't know what in the hell is going on with the main channel on YouTube, but I'm telling you what, like, once again, and every now and then, I see whenever they change the community guidelines, like some BS kind of, be going on with, the reminders and notifications and all of that. But man, I feel like they are absolutely. I even typed in Best Damn Podcast the other day, and my main channel didn't even pop up at all. Like, weird stuff, man. I feel like it's being hidden big time. Big time. Well, you appreciate me. I appreciate you guys. What's your stream and topic about, mate? Says Paul McDuff. Well, we're going to be getting into a little bit of everything. We're going to be talking about UFOs, very obviously. UFOs may be earthly and dangerous. And I got quite a few things that are on, UFOs, unidentified flying objects. And, there is this kind of thought or school of thought now that, those craft that we're seeing, these are like enemy aircraft. And, whether they are or they aren't, I thought it was really interesting to kind of take a look into that. I've also got documents, and man, I tell you what, these are quite interesting here. Where's it at? We're going to be looking at, because of the push towards World War III, we're going to be looking at a lot of the different preparations that are being made by FEMA for disaster scenarios, as well as we're going to be looking at U.S. target maps, world maps, as well as some other documents. Where the hell are they? Yeah, the Starfish exo-atmospheric high-altitude nuclear weapons test. A lot of this stuff goes hand in hand with Program 437, the beginnings, and this is all about nuclear weapons, the nuclear programs. They know what type of damage would come from these things, and whether or not you believe that nuclear weapons are real, and I just want to put that out there because I know that some of you believe that they're just nonsense, right? That nuclear weapons don't exist. And I'm kind of the school of thought of I don't know, right? I don't know. I know that they, they can create bombs that blow up a lot of shit and they're huge and they're massive. Now, the whole process of fusion and all of that, if we live in electromagnetic reality, probably doesn't happen, right? But it's neither here nor there. They could still, use hydrogen or any other thing, even large amounts of TNT to create, large, tremendous bombs that actually devastate areas. Not to mention, a lot of these weapons are put into the ground, right? They keep them down in silos. And if you notice, all throughout the United States, man, it's basically, sprinkled all over the 48 contiguous states, right? So whether there's a nuke in there or there's just a damn bomb in there, it doesn't really matter if these things blow up in the ground. And I think that there's a lot of things that we're getting ready to see when it comes to World War III. All the trickery, right? All the trickery, from the fact that they've fracked on all of the fault lines, right? Which that's something you can just look up yourself. Go look at where they fracked at, right? In the United States. And I shit you not, it is all up and down around the North American craton, right? The main plate of North America. And you'll see it. They fracked all up San Andreas, Cascadia, New Madrid. And people have to ask themselves the question, why? Why? Why would you choose there, of all places, to do your fracking at, on fault lines? Are you trying to release energy from these different earthquakes and make it not as bad whenever magnetic reversal takes place or the excursion takes place? Or are you potentially trying to get ahead of these cataclysms and make sure that there is maximum casualties, right? By basically putting everybody outside of the craton down into the ocean, right? Like the land masses will probably, be very, very unstable. Anything outside of the craton as it is. And then you add the fracking and all of that. It's just like they've weakened all of this. And a lot of people, and I hate to, say these things, but it's like I'm 50-50 with it. With what they've done with HAARP and what we see with DARPA and how they're behind everything, right? Stratospheric aerosol injection, which is the terraforming of the planet, right, through nano particulates, aluminum, barium, strontium. Yes, they have the ability to refract light and reflect light and bend light and make objects disappear, make objects, appear to look like something they're not, or to look different and alter the way an object looks. They have the ability to filter in and filter out different hues of light. And a lot of the reason I believe that we see the red and the pink in the sky so much is because they have the longest electromagnetic light wave signature, right? So red has the longest wave, and that's why it's getting through the chemtrails, right? They're terraforming the planet, and they're putting all these particles within us, right? They're putting all these particles within the wildlife. They're putting all these particles within the water. And if you think about it, water is 80% of us. We're made up of 80% water, and water has memory. So that alone, there is a cycle that takes place, a life cycle on the planet where, when we die and all of this, we return somehow to this dust, this dirt, and to the water. And who knows, right? Maybe the water that your mother drank is your grandfather, your great-great-grandfather, right? From a long time ago. We don't know, right? But we do know that everything in this earth is in our DNA. Everything, every plant, every animal, and we're very connected to the water. Everything on the earth itself we're connected to, right? We have, what they tell us is, a solar maximum taking place. And a lot of people, once again, kind of have a lot of doubts on what we see with SOHO and SETI and SDO and all these different satellites that supposedly, look at the sun, and take images of the sun. There's a giant occulter on these different satellites to block out the actual sun. But this is where we see, the coronal mass ejections and the solar flares. This is how they detect different magnetic anomalies on the sun, sunspots, holes, all of it, right? But some people believe that what we're being shown is more lies, right? It's more lies. And what's actually happening is that we're receiving bursts of electromagnetic energy from an incoming star system and not our sun. That our sun is going wild, right? And it probably is discharging lots and lots of energy, but it's probably being gobbled up by the dwarf companion or the neutron star that is, going right past it right now. You see people like Planet X News, they show all these images of stellar cores and shit, and they're all around the sun. And they look like they're literally draining plasma or something from the sun, right? So maybe, what we're being told with all of the maximum stuff could be lies, right? We look at our sun in the sky right now, guys, and the damn thing looks sick. It looks sick, right? I mean, if that is our sun that we are seeing, take a look at it. It's went from a golden yellow color to a really bright LED looking white. And a lot of people believe that those are actual LEDs and that they're sun simulators now in front of it because it's went so dark, because it's so sick. To just recently, people have captured images of this thing and it looked blood red. Blood red. What do you think would change the color of the sun? It wouldn't just be the light from another star or something like that, right? It looks like it's deeper than that, right? Like I said, we're seeing all the stellar cores and all of this doing things to the sun, and we're seeing the coronal mass ejections and the solar flares creating reactions with the sun. The magnetic field, the fluctuations in the magnetic field, and how weak it's gotten, right? We can buy into all of this is naturally taking place, but, I think it's kind of a combination of both natural and artificial, right? If you look at Hurricane Harvey and all of the different Katrina, all these different hurricanes that appeared to stop. I mean, right before they made landfall, picked up a bunch of steam and then boom, right? Hammered the different areas that they landed on, right? Those to me look like they were engineered. Right? They look like they were man-made, right? And that we know that with the ability of HAARP and the stratospheric aerosol injection, not only do they terraform the planet, right? But they have the ability to manipulate the weather as well, weather modification. They use what I believe is the Doppler on the ground to move the clouds once they're full of the nanoparticulates, as well as satellites and anything else. And I would even venture to say that flat out radio frequency has the ability to move and shift a lot of what we're seeing up in the skies as well. You see 6 months of rain pour down on a place in just a day. So the question is, are all these things being done by the powers that be to create the illusion of the end of the world, right? To create the illusion of revelation, because they are constantly playing this script, right? They're constantly feeding into this script, man. The prophecy, the prophetical script, right? Scripture. Or is this an act of something more, something bigger? And truly, this is what we all think it could be. And this is a tribulation. And it's not because man or these fallen or these elites or whatever are doing any of it. It's just a result of, a massive celestial body that is approaching the earth and creating absolute chaos on its way in, right? And that's kind of the question. That's where I'm at with this. Well, I love you too. You're saying that they terraform it for our breathing air as if this ain't normal. It's not normal. There's nothing normal about you sucking in a bunch of nanoparticles. You know what I mean? There's nothing normal about that. And these nanoparticles, not only do they react to DNA, but they react to magnetism too, right? So remember how people were coming down with Morgellons and shit like that about, a decade ago maybe? And it was looked at as a real thing, right? Doctors were trying to figure out what the hell it was. Well, they were getting these fibers, which looked like nanofibers, that were growing out of their body, right? They were basically becoming antennas, and they were having adverse reactions to the chemtrails, right? To the particles or particulates that are raining down on their heads. Well, now, as we look at the agenda that's playing out now, in the main agenda too, not like all the little side shit, the one that we're not allowed to talk about, the one that we can't even speak the name of on YouTube. That agenda, we have seen footage of what's inside of those vials under microscopes, and it looks like they contain Morgellons. It looks like they contain nanofibers. You look at what people are using to cover, their face. Same thing. Under a microscope, nanofibers, right? All of this. So it makes one really ask the question, man, like how much of this is actually natural that's taking place, and how much are we being fed more? Think about it. The shit's coming from NASA. Look right here. Look right here. CME is about to miss Earth, barely. Yesterday, July 28th, a magnetic filament in the sun's northern hemisphere erupted. The resulting CME is going to pass by Earth on August the 1st, barely missing our planet. NOAA, or NOAA, analysis modeled the eruption overnight and confirmed that the CME should not hit the Earth. Check this out. Nuclear bombs can cause geomagnetic storms. They called it Starfish Prime on July 9th, 1962. The U.S. military exploded a thermonuclear warhead 250 miles above the Pacific Ocean. What happened next surprised everyone. Witnesses from Hawaii to New Zealand reported auroras dancing overhead, magnificent midnight rainbow stripes that tropical sky watchers had never seen before. Radios fell silent, then suddenly became noisy. Burglar alarms sounded as a local streetlight in Honolulu went black. Starfish Prime essentially created an artificial solar storm, complete with auroras, geomagnetic activity, and blackouts. Much of the chaos that night was caused by the electromagnetic pulse, or the EMP, a ferocious burst of radiation that can ionize the atmosphere and pepper the ground below with secondary particles akin to cosmic rays. Government and industry researchers have been studying the Starfish Prime EMP for decades. Typical EMP simulations found in government and industry reports use oversimplified models of the Earth, says the lead author, Jeffrey Love of the United States Geological Survey. They do not provide accurate estimates of the hazard in complex geological settings. In their paper, they describe how a high-altitude nuclear blast jerks Earth's magnetic field. First, the EMP ionizes a layer of air underneath the bomb. The layer processes downward, pinning the Earth's magnetic field lines in their pre-blast locations. Next, as the ionization subsides, the magnetic field springs back. It's sort of heaving, lurching geomagnetic storm. Geomagnetic storms are famous for causing power blackouts. Usually the sun is to blame, but EMPs can do it too. Lurching magnetic fields cause electrical currents to flow through the ground, and literally, rocks beneath your feet begin to tingle with electricity. These currents, in turn, make their way into grounded electric power grids, potentially damaging transformers and blacking out power supplies. The crucial point of Love's paper: Earth is not the same everywhere. In recent years, researchers have been sounding Earth's crust to determine the 3D electrical properties of our planet. These magnetotelluric surveys reveal huge variations in conductivity from place to place depending on the mix of underlying rock. Love has been one of the pioneers in applying this type of Earth data to space weather, predicting how global geomagnetic storms might affect local power lines. Now he and his colleagues are doing the same with EMPs. The team focused their attention on the eastern mid-continental USA, a region bracketed by St. Louis, Missouri, and Memphis, Tennessee between 2016 and 2019. The USGS conducted a magnetotelluric survey of the area, so the data are fresh. The terrain is remarkable. It's a mix of rock types. Underneath it is all a layer of Precambrian basement rock, which is electrically resistive. This is overlain by different depths of younger, electrically conductive sedimentary rock. Notable features include the Ozark Dome, where the sedimentary layer is thin, and the Reelfoot Rift, which is deeply filled with sedimentary rock. Love's team simulated a nuclear explosion about 300 kilometers above this region. They found a huge range of geoelectric responses. Some power lines in the simulation had excess voltages near 2,000 volts, while others were closer to 0.0 volts. Both were sharp departures from previous studies. The authors note that the eastern mid-continent is just a small fraction of the USA. Similar studies need to be done somewhere when it comes to nuclear geomagnetic storms. Researchers still have a lot of ground to cover. And I would love to see if we can actually get this document. But see, that's what I'm saying, man. Pretty strange. This should be the actual paper here. There it is. Earth and Space Science. Down to Earth with Nuclear Electromagnetic Pulse. Realistic Surface Impedance Effects Mapping of the E3 Geoelectric Hazard. And this is what I'm saying, guys. Nuclear, right, has the same effects as what Mother Nature would have, right? So artificially, they would be able to control these things through nuclear bombs, nuclear war, electromagnetic pulse. They can literally do EMP with, silently. We've seen, what was it, Paradise, California. A lot of people there believed that it was DEWs that actually did all that damage. And if you guys remember the videos from back then, I did one and got a strike actually. And everybody was in their cars. I mean, just skeletons, right? Everything was complete ash. The cars were melted. The metal on the cars were melted. And everybody, right where they were sitting, it didn't matter if they had, their hands on the steering wheel, or they were reaching across, to buckle up their kids with their seatbelt. They were right where they were at, complete skeletons. And one guy survives, right? It's one guy who hopped out of his car, right? And that's some electrical, from the directed energy weapon, creating an electrical fire. And remember all of the different satellite images and pictures of Paradise. What was it? Everywhere there was trees and shit like that, it was fine. But it burned all the houses, with the electrical wiring, and burned all the cars, the vehicles with electrical wiring, right? So we know that they have the ability to do things like this, and it doesn't necessarily mean that they have to light up a nuclear bomb to do this as well. But I think also it kind of can make you wonder about this neutron star giving off a tremendous amount of radiation as well. Remember, in the Bible, when it talks about wormwood, right? Wormwood basically is another name for radiation or radioactive, right? What was it? Chernobyl? I believe Chernobyl is also some type of variation of the word wormwood, right? So when it says the star comes down, touching the water, causing the water to be poisoned, right? We know that it has, radioactive properties, right? Think about it. The amount of energy and all of that's being given off by, said star, right? Matter of fact, here, let me pull it up. The star's name was Wormwood. Let me pull it up. Whoops. Let me pull it up, show you what I'm talking about. This is what I mean, though. An incoming system could be doing all the same things and make it appear as if nuclear bombs are dropping, right? But in the same breath, right, they could also take, their own millimeter waves and directed energy weapons and try to create, electromagnetic pulse and high concentrations of radiation that way as well. Where's it at here? I believe it's this one. Yeah, right here. Right here. Then the third angel blew his trumpet, and a huge star, burning like a torch, fell from the sky, and it landed on a third of the rivers and on the springs of water. Now the name of the star is Wormwood. So a third of the waters became wormwood, and many people died from these waters because they were poisoned. And wormwood, calamity, a type of bitterness. I know it's another word, radioactive too. Like I said, let's see if we can find poisoned. To embitter, poisonous, to set up. Not the words I wanted here. Star as strewn over the sky. As strewn over the sky. And to strew or spread, too. It says to strew or to spread when it says that the star to strew or to spread wormwood, right? Poison, bitterness. and think about something that would strew or spread, right? It would be a comet, right? It'd be a comet-like object, right? That has a tail and is burning and has things coming off of it, right? It's burning off all of the different material that it's made up of. And like I said, we see most commonly these different fireballs, and we know through, what was it, 1901 or some shit like that, the stereoscopic evidence showing the different colors of these asteroids and what they're made up of. And the reason we see the cyan green is because it's cyanide, right? And a lot of the more common ones are sulfur, arsenic, cyanide. And you see it says to strew or to spread. To strew or spread, like it's strewing or spreading radiation, right? And the radiation is poison. And I would love to find the thing on Chernobyl. They used a DEW weapon to start the fire in Anaheim, California. Some took a video of the DEW right before the fire started. It says Pamela Kellum over on Facebook Live. Yeah, if you're talking about Paradise, California, yeah, the Paradise fires, yeah, man. Oh, thank you. Thank you for your information and passion for the truth. Keep on trucking, babe. That's what's up. And let's take a look here, man. I've got... Well, and just take a look at this right here. Don't tell me that something like this doesn't have the ability to give off a tremendous amount of radiation. Something this size. I mean, look at that. You have the giant striped planet and this moon, that is cracked and whatever, right? Looks like the broken spear in front of the Vatican. These objects, you can guarantee these are stars as well. I don't believe there's no such thing as planets. And Jupiter or Saturn or whatever, these would be stars, and they would be giving off, a shit ton of radiation. And that could also be why, and we're seeing this, right? What was it? The thunder clouds that they were talking about, saying that now from all the fires, we've got this new kind of cloud that doesn't drop rain, but it strikes lightning ahead of its path, basically creating fires. It's like a big static ball of smoke now that they're now saying is taking place on the West Coast. So this is just one thing, and if you kind of look at this whole system and what's taking place around the world, some of this stuff I don't even think they could do artificially. Like those clouds, right? Or like the drought and the intense heat that we're seeing in a lot of areas. We're seeing, large amounts of the United States and Canada warming up and like drastically. There's places all over the world that are now saying are uninhabitable because of the heat increase. I think this is all coming from a celestial body that's creating this heat. Just like if it's giving off this tremendous amount of radiation, which, there would be cosmic rays and all of these things having this effect on the ionosphere, coming down into the atmosphere, essentially baking the earth. And we know that the energy travels all the way through, right, to the core, back out through the mantle, creating crustal displacement. And that's why we have the sinkholes, the mudslides, the landslides, and all of this. But look at that. I'm not going to play her voice here. But something like that, man. That's quite huge, dude. And if you think that wouldn't have the potential to absolutely, trigger global catastrophe, I don't know, what would, as a matter of fact. Because that is absolutely insanely big. The planet is waking up with record-breaking natural disasters. I mean, you tell me, are these disasters man-made or are they artificial? See? That's what I mean. Look at the sun. The sun looks fucking sick, man. That red sun, is that even the sun? See, it looks sick. Right? If that is our sun is in deep trouble. And see the cyclonic, the different cyclonic manifestations within the atmosphere. We see this in the form of water spouts, cyclones, hurricanes, tornadoes. And, you know, I've described this before, how the energy cycles. I mean, it comes from the sun, allegedly, which I believe it's from the sun and this other star, through the field, which the field is being weakened, and you can see through the South Atlantic anomaly, which is shaped like a round ball with wings. I mean, imagine that, right? That's just supposedly how Nemesis looks, and it's pushing our magnetic poles away from the location that they used to be in and towards Siberia. It's pushing them that direction. That's why we have two magnetic north, two magnetic south. And that's why we're now seeing, as this thing approaches, and it's getting really close, and we all can tell that by the amount of catastrophes that we're seeing, right? We're seeing the increase, too. We moved 6 miles in a month, and then we had an 18% increase in speed over the last 3 months. And think about what's happened over the last 3 months. Last month, we had over 48 volcanoes erupting at the same time. The most in the history, recorded history, right? We had seismic activity that, surpassed anything we've ever seen, right? And it stayed high on the earthquake watch and all of that. I mean, we're having... You can't count how many we're having each day. And we were having swarms, New Madrid, Cascadia, San Andreas. And this is all the faults all across the world they're swarming. And that is the escaping of energy, right? That's what's happening. The energy escaping through those fault lines. That's why it has 200-300 little smaller earthquakes. It's getting rid of the energy. And eventually, it builds up and there's... big releases of energy, and that's what I'm talking about with the fracking. You know, what are they preparing for by fracking on all the fault lines? Is this going to make a massive release of energy way worse, putting people into the ocean? Or is this easing things for the energy to be able to escape easier and not have a tremendous amount of pressure, essentially breaking the continent the way that the different flood maps and the naval maps show. They show the U.S., in three pieces, man. 3 pieces. That's suspicious. Yeah. Well, think about that too. They're sitting and talking about how, the death toll is going to be, a lot more, from the cataclysms that we're going to be dealing with than from the pandemic. That right there should let you know, man. And think about the Bible says that too as well, right? And when it's talking about, what they're doing, matter of fact, I am interested into seeing, I know it says a fourth of them, I believe, and I believe that's what's being accomplished through the pandemic stuff, right? That's what we're seeing with that the fourth of the earth, or the fourth of the people. Let me get to it here. Right, where is it at? Yeah, when the Lamb opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth living creature saying, "Come," and I looked, and here came a pale green horse. And remember, your green passports, right? And the one who rode it was Death, and Hades followed right behind. And remember, in the celestial alignments right now, you have Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto. So Saturn is Death, right? That's Satan, Death, and Pluto is Hades. Just saying. And they were given authority over a fourth of the earth, to kill its population with the sword, famine, and disease, and by the wild animals of the earth. And the wild animals, if you guessed demonic entities, you guessed right. A dangerous animal, a venomous wild beast, as in beast of the field. And they're venomous because they're serpents, right? Venomous because they're serpents. And I think that the pandemic is this. Killing the fourth of the earth, right? That's what they're doing. And if you look at the statistics, too, of how many people has actually capitulated to this agenda, it's somewhere in there, too. I almost guarantee. And as a matter of fact, I was doing a show the other night, a private show, I think, where we actually had seen like 1 in 4 or something like that. And that's what gave me this idea, like, whoa, it looks as if like... the fourth of the earth is being done through this agenda. And they said this won't end till mid-2022. And the Lamb opened the fifth seal, and I saw under the altar of souls those who had been violently killed because of the word of God and because of the testimony they had given. And this is, I believe, when we see everything become a requirement, mandatory, all of this. I was showing you the bill from New York that basically makes a person a public health hazard, right, if they're not going along with these things. And they're able to come to their home and lock them up even. And I even showed, Cuomo, right, talking about we need to go knock on their door and we need to, make them, take this in a show, that in a private show, right? So they're not playing with that. They've created these quarantine zones. They've created all of these 100 centers for all of this. And if you think that this stuff won't be used, I have news for you, right? I believe that that's where this will come into play, right? That's where this will come into play. They will literally deem people a hazard, right, to all the people around them, everyone who doesn't go along with this, right? And 1 in 4 of the people who do will probably not make it, right? And they're going to come after the elect. And remember, Christ said, they would put you before, the leaders and all of that, and that not try to think of something to say, that he would give you the words, and that when they went to execute you, that he would be with you and give you a feeling of peace, right, as it happened. And I think that that's what this is. We're that close to all of this, right? That close to all of this. You know, C-19 and all of that, that was conquering and to conquer. That's how they subdued the world population. And that second seal, right, the fiery red, the sacrifice, well, that began all of this. And the Abraham Accord peace treaty shows you like the sigil of the witchcraft that they're playing out on all of us. It shows you. It says he was given a great sword, and it has a sword right on it, and it shows you step for step how they're doing this and who they're sacrificing you to. You know, then you see the third seal, and it's yoking you to the system into servitude through law or obligation. Well, guess what? That's happening right fucking now. Right? They're changing all of this, making it mandatory for this, mandatory for that, depending on your job, that you have to do this, or you have to take that, or you have to wear this, or you have to get tested, right? This is what that is. This is law or obligation. They're going to make you, right, subject to the beast system one way, shape, or form. And they're going to say, hey, you want your surgery? You're going to do this. Hey, you want your job? You're going to do this. Hey, you want your kids to go to school? You're going to do this. Hey, you want to travel? You're going to do this. Hey, you want to go to a nightclub or a bar? You're going to do this, right? This is what that is, right? Yoking you into servitude through law or obligation. And it's happening right now. And it's followed by the change of the money, hyperinflation, right? And it's even the Libra scales, and I believe we're going to see with the CBDC, Libra Diem, them switch to, you know, this digital currency. And that's going to be the blockchain to lock everybody in with this beast system and keep people from buying or selling. We still got to see them, you know, go past the paper certificates and proof. They're going to put it out there like everybody's going to forge these things, and they're going to have to make it digital. So we still got a couple of steps to go, but I mean they're right there on the doorstep of a lot of these things. And like I said, this is when they will start to unleash, you know, a lot of the final parts of the agenda, a lot of the final parts of the culling of the masses, and they're going to go after the elect. They just have to set up strategically for the world war and all of that, which we see them going, you know, kind of headfirst into now. Matter of fact, somebody had actually sent me this document, and this is Department of Homeland Security and FEMA, and this is the Rural Domestic Preparedness Consortium course catalog. Prepare for the worst, train to be the best. And this is the RDPC instructor-led trainings. And you can see here, they have these different exercises. 144, Port and Vessel Security for Public Safety and Maritime Personnel. Introductory view of the marine transportation system and the security requirements of marine facilities located in rural communities. Detailed threats to the system, security levels, regulatory requirements, and other information designed to assist public safety responders and planners in their interface with navigable waterways. Mass fatalities planning and response for rural communities. Designed to prepare first responders to manage a mass fatality incident impacting a rural jurisdiction. Issues addressed include roles and responsibilities, assets and management, remains identification and processing, diversity issues, resource acquisition, and development of a plan. You see that? Remains identification, identifying your remains. Business continuity planning. Preparedness, small and large businesses to effectively plan for emergencies of all types. Developed by the Northwest Arkansas Community College Institute of Corporate and Public Safety in partnership with Walmart, Tyson Foods, J.B. Hunt, transport services, as well with the public sector and first responders. Railcar incident response, designed to increase the knowledge of first responders to better recognize and characterize the different types of freight rail cars, potential leaks, and courses of action to be taken based on an initial site assessment. Pipeline security in rural communities provides basic knowledge on the recognition of pipeline security threats and the identification of protection measures and mitigation strategies necessary to secure this critical infrastructure. Designed to bring together all rural pipeline security stakeholders in a scenario-based training environment. And if you see, they're covering all grounds, dude, right? All grounds. The rail cars on the trains, pipelines for gas and all of this shit. They're expecting destruction, dude. Emergency operation plans for rural jurisdictions provides rural first responders with the skills to develop an emergency operations plan for their local jurisdiction or region. Participants are provided with knowledge on the planning process, the different types of EOP formats, and the components of each. Participants engage in scenarios designed to enable them to determine the best format for their particular jurisdiction and to organize the various planning components into an EOP. Crisis management for school-based incidents. Partnering rural law enforcement, first responders, and local school systems. Educational rural law enforcement personnel as well as school administrators and staff on the elements that must be in place to effectively collaborate on planning and preparing for, responding to, and recovering from a school-based incident. Small vessel security for rural communities develops critical skills and increases response capabilities regarding maritime security incidents involving a small vessel. Identification of small vessel threats, mitigation strategies, community resources, and the development of regional partnerships are key topics discussed in a scenario-based training environment. Planning for intervention for security threat groups, hate and terrorist groups in rural jails and prisons. Focuses on threat group recruitment and radicalization in correctional facilities and examines methods for strengthening information gathering and sharing. Utilizes case studies and exercises to illustrate recruitment mechanisms, defines roles of various agencies, and explores practices, policies, and conditions specific to rural facilities. And see, you can even see right in that one, it's talking about, right here, radicalization, right? Radicalization in the military, radicalization in prisons, radicalization amongst individuals, anybody going against the New World Order. Event security planning for public safety professionals designed to provide planning and management level skills to officers from state and local public safety agencies with essential skills and knowledge for planning and managing the security for special events, and to identify guiding principles for special event security. Working with the media, a course for rural first responders, adapted from FEMA's IG 290. This curriculum provides rural first responders with skills needed to communicate with the public through the media, examines roles of the media and the rural first responder public information officer. Participants learn how to give and print electronic media interviews, write news releases, and provide information at the scene and how they fit into the joint information system. Access and functional needs preparedness planning for rural communities educates participants on the planning efforts needed to ensure the safety of those with functional needs. And agro-terrorism food safety program. All hazards preparedness for animals and disasters. Provides tools to protect, respond to, and recover from the consequences of disasters. Example given: fire, flood, heat, earthquake, tornadoes, hurricanes, hazardous materials, and catastrophic disease exposure involving animals in rural communities. Course includes 4 hours of web-based training. All hazards planning for animal, agricultural, and food-related disasters provides background information needed to lead a multi-agency team of emergency planners in the development of an emergency support function annex for food and or animal-related disasters to supplement their community's existing EOP. And you can literally see, I'll just list off a few more: mobilizing faith-based community organizations in preparing for disasters, mobilizing faith-based preparing for disasters, educates representatives from faith-based organizations, emergency response agencies, and others to strategically mobilize and engage community organizations, religious, charitable, or non-governmental, in a reciprocal approach to disaster planning, emphasizes grassroots mobilization and coordination in an effort to effectively reach the vulnerable populations they serve. Disaster recovery. And this is efforts to a plan to expedite recovery efforts and facilitate the long-term economic revitalization of their communities following disaster. Continuity of government operations. Planning for rural communities aids government officials and emergency responders in the development of plans to ensure the continuity of essential government functions across the spectrum of emergencies. Community threat group identification, assessment, and information reporting for rural law enforcement officers. Examines threat groups and networks that impact rural communities with a focus on gangs, hate groups, domestic and international terrorist organizations as they converge for the purpose of criminal enterprise. And notice they included domestic terrorists in that, right? Domestic terrorist. It wasn't just, what you're used to seeing. Everything that they are focusing on now is domestic, it appears, right? There's no more concern about Al-Qaeda and all of that. It's about, people that would oppose the direction they're trying to take all of us into. And just to kind of show a few more, look, tribal communities. Response to all hazard threats to tribal communities, isolation and quarantine response strategies in the event of a biological disease outbreak in tribal nations, testing and emergency operations. And look at this: crisis management for school-based, event security, isolation, quarantine, terrorism, weapons of mass destruction, dealing with the media. And there you have it. Center for Rural Development leading initiatives to provide training to law enforcement, fire professionals, and emergency responders across the nation through the Rural Domestic Preparedness Consortium. RDPC is a program of the United States Department of Homeland Security, Federal Emergency Management Agency, and has worked for more than 14 years preparing the nation's small, rural, and tribal communities through all hazard training. And guys, just to keep it real, this is a part of, what do they call it, where they localize the UN, right? This is what the localization of the UN, something like that, where they literally give the police armored vehicles and all of this. This is all kind of in the same vein. They've done all this shit through FEMA and Department of Defense, Department of Homeland Security, and it's all to get them, and when those police stations or police chiefs or whatever, whenever they take those weapons, by the way, anytime they ever take those weapons, the different armored vehicles, SWAT vehicles, bulletproof vests, or riot control shit, anytime they ever take that, they sign a deal essentially with the UN that says in a state of emergency that they will basically report to the UN if the United States was to be in disarray. So they sell their soul to get all that stuff, is my point. Harvard scientists launched Galileo Project to search for UFOs and aliens. Scientists at Harvard announced the launch of the Galileo Project, its mission to search for alien objects in the solar system. Participants in the project, funded by charitable funds, intended to investigate satellites, near-Earth objects, interstellar bodies of natural or artificial origin, and possible UFOs. They'll use both existing and planned telescopes, one of them, the Vera Rubin Observatory, which is planned to be launched in 2023. Constant observation will allow identification of unusual objects. Accordingly, astronomers will have more time to study them. So the interstellar asteroid Oumuamua was studied for only 2 months. Later, it left the field of view of the telescopes. The initiator of the Galileo Project, theoretical astrophysicist Avi Loeb, believes that the asteroid was an alien ship, and that the scientific community was skeptical about his findings, but noted that the solar system monitoring project itself would be useful. And I don't know if it was an alien ship, but I do know that the name Oumuamua means something like a scouting ship or something like that. So it does mean like, a scouting ship or a scouting party. Mysterious orbs and rays of light in the sky over Zhengzhou, China. You can see here. Pretty weird shit. Looks like auroras to me. And a suspected ray of light and 2 orbs appear in the clouds over Zhengzhou, China on July 24th, 2021. And I have trouble even buying into the UFO stuff. We see the video here. I would look at that. Wow. What do you guys think on that one? I wonder, I'm trying to come to a conclusion here on what that could be. You see it moving like a circular motion. There appears to be a couple objects or something right here. See, it's like shooting off to the sides here. I wonder if we're seeing like energy or something coming off of a celestial object. It does go in a round circular motion. Or some type of Project Bluebeam shit. I don't know, guys. You tell me. What do you think that is? Anybody got any ideas? Gas is being emitted. That makes a lot of sense. Splintered sunlight. D. Sir says, I know this. For a fact. Okay. Test of blue beam, says Paul McDuff. To be a bunch of jumbled shit. Okay. Well, I don't know what that was about, but yeah. John is brilliant. I don't know about all that, man. And somebody's saying that I don't appear to be a nut. Is that what you're saying? I don't know if that's about me or someone else. Depends on who you ask. The planet is magnetic. Ferrocells tell a lot about what is happening with the Earth and our bodies. Damn, Chicken Little. Yeah. I'm with you. And I do like Splintered Sunlight talking about the gases being emitted as well. Angel Spirit, says Graceful Heart. Yeah, I mean, is there a wrong answer? You know what I mean? There's really not. Evidence of an advanced civilization in Egypt before the pharaohs. You think? There is no other place on earth like Egypt's Giza Plateau. Anyone with even a slight interest in history and civilization is aware of this fact. For on this plateau there stands the Great Pyramid and their sculpted guardian, the Great Sphinx. Although there are plenty of theories, no one really knows who built the Giza pyramids or carved the Sphinx. And when they were constructed, any statement as to who built them or when they were built is pure theory. In light of all the various theories concerning these mystery structures, I don't think the theoretical nature of the pyramid builders can be emphasized enough. What stands out at Giza more than anything else is not only the magnitude of the construction of the pyramids, but the internal design of the Great Pyramid, 3 chambers, of which one is subterranean, and their connecting passageways. The passageway that leads to the so-called King's Chamber rises to a height of 36 feet. On the other hand, all other passageways were not built tall enough to accommodate the average man or women. There is also the unique configuration of the King's Chamber as well as the Queen's Chamber. Both of these contain 2 shafts, one on each side of the chamber. The Queen's Chamber contains a corbel niche built into the east wall, and the King's Chamber ceiling is composed of 5 granite slabs stacked one atop the other, and why these chambers were constructed in this manner is unknown. The official theory is that the pyramids were tombs, and that King Khufu kept changing his mind where his burial chamber was to be placed. Thus, the reason for 3 chambers in the Great Pyramid. However, in comparison to typical Egyptian burial methods, the mastaba and the tombs in the Valley of the Kings, the Giza pyramids, and particularly the Great Pyramid, do not fare well within the Egyptian concept of a tomb. No, they do not. And if you look, too, inside the pyramids, there's a lot of the walls that they painted over and shit to cover up a lot of the glyphs and stuff. It's very strange whenever you really get into the Great Pyramids. And another thing, they say that they were depicting women smaller or whatever. Well, they have statues, right, like of different kings. Some will be 12 feet high, some are 36 feet high. And they say that at different levels of consciousness, right, the human body grows, right? So whenever we hear of like Nephilim and that they were giants, that they were just a higher level of consciousness, and that the skeletons of like hobbit-looking people were like the first level of consciousness, right? We would be second level of consciousness, right? So the first level, I think they say it's 2 to 4, 3.5 feet. The second level of consciousness is 5 to 7.5 feet, right? Then the third level would be like what is described as on the Nephilim, and it would be anywhere, I think, from 12 to 15 feet, something like that. And then you have the fourth level of consciousness, which would be like 25 feet to 30 feet. And then the fifth level would be Metatron. It would be perfection. It would be 55 feet tall. And that's what they were showing with the different kings in Giza. All the different statues, if you look at them, some of them were all 36 feet. You know, some of them were 15 feet. And that they were depicting their conscious status, right? Like some of them were that high of a level of consciousness. And if they weren't human, you know, kind of makes sense, right? And yeah, I don't know about that. Airplane passenger captured on video an unusual UFO. And this isn't the most unusual thing I've ever seen. I gotta admit, guys, that fucking serpent flying through the sky is the most insane thing I've ever seen to this day. But this is pretty wild. Probably, and I seen a video of it and people were saying it was fake. Let's take a look at it. Onboard plane passenger filmed this one. the fuck? And when you look at like that Tic Tac one too, I don't know if you guys have ever seen the different chemtrail planes. Um, it's said that I think it's mirrors or something that they have on the bottom of them that basically allows them to be cloaked or something like that. It's something really simple, something most people wouldn't even think, as far as like cloaking technology. But I've seen images or pictures or just looking up at the sky of some of the different planes that actually do the chemtrails, and some of them look like the Tic Tac stuff. They don't look like any type of plane I've ever seen. I don't know if you guys have seen that shit too, but some of them look absolutely crazy. And I keep going out of that one. Pow. It's weird. And it's so hard to find real UFO videos. 99% of them are fake. They've been faked. He said, "What the fuck is that, man?" That's wild. Yeah, dude. That is crazy. Let's skip up ahead here. Birds. Satellites. And aircraft. What the hell? And that's UFO. Change of direction. Wow. It hit a hard right. But that kind of looks like debris. And I would love to know what you guys think this is. Do you think it's real? Do you think it's fake? Do you think we're seeing a craft, some type of, electromagnetic anomaly, due to, some celestial body? Do you think that we're seeing an angel? I mean, what do you think this is? Wow. Wow. And look, that thing is like, it's so clear that it looks fake or something, don't it? Like, I don't know if that's fake, though. Maybe an angel, says Rudy Garcia over on Facebook Live. I got nothing, dude. Maybe plasma, like D said. Um, uh, that's your tooth being lifted by the fairy? Oh, you're funny. AI technology, plasma maybe. Um, yeah, I don't know, man. Kind of looks like reflecting off of something. A Walmart plastic bag. That's funny as shit. Um, Emitting gases off a tower-sized rock entering the atmosphere. Yeah, I would go with that. I would go with that. I'm not opposed to that. I mean, there's something off about this, though. I mean, look at that, dude. Let me take that back. Look at that. That is weird as shit, man. Let's get it right in front, like, right here. Look at that, man. Look at that. It looks so fucking weird. It looks so weird. You know, and I wonder if that's like, I don't know, man. If I got a theory that, asteroids and meteors and all of that are part of the cycle of energy, right? That comes from the cosmic rays and all of that. And, like we see auroras and stuff, that ionized gas at the top of the ionosphere. Maybe some of it turns from gas to a plasmatic state, and that's what we see falling back down, burning down. Maybe that is something like that. I don't know. That's fucking crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Where am I at with this? And let's take a look at some of these here. Matter of fact, Starfish exo-atmospheric high-altitude nuclear weapons test. And this was, Argus is the analytical reports gathering updating system. Fishbowl, Operation Fishbowl, was a series of high-altitude nuclear tests in 1962. Let's see if we can get the document for Fishbowl too. Operation Fishbowl. We have Dominique. No, we're not going to get that. Nuclear weapons, high altitude nuclear weapons effects information. And yeah, this isn't what I want. Let's take a look at this one. Dominique. And we have the nuke map too. So if you ever want to see, I'm going to drop this into the chat for everybody. If you want to see what a nuclear bomb would do to your area, all you do is put the information in here and you detonate the bitch, and you can see what it would look like if one was to drop where you live. Just saying. I think it's kind of fun. Operation Dominique. And is it going to be blacked out? Come on, man. So much of this shit's redacted, it's not even funny. I don't even know why they even put this shit out. Dominique was a series of 36 atmospheric nuclear weapon detonations held in the Pacific Ocean from April 10th, November 1962. These detonations are listed on the table of the following page. They, in the Continental Dominique 2 test, were the last atmospheric nuclear weapons tests conducted by the United States. Most of Dominique 1 test shots were detonated in the air after having been dropped from a B-52 bomber. 24 of the airdrops took place from the 25th of April through the 11th of July over the ocean just south of Christmas Island. This island is United Kingdom possession, located 1,200 miles south of Honolulu. 5 more airdrops were detonated in October over the open ocean in the vicinity of Johnston Island, the United States possession, 780 miles west-southwest of Honolulu. These tests were conducted for the purposes of weapons development. 5 high-altitude bursts up to 400 kilometers were lofted by rockets from Johnston Island and were designated the Fishbowl events. These events were for the purpose of studying the effects of nuclear detonations as defensive weapons against ballistic missiles. In addition, the Navy conducted 2 nuclear tests in the open. The first on the 4th of May, 435 miles east of Christmas Island, and the second on the 11th of May, 370 miles southwest of San Diego, California. The first, called Frigate Bird, was a missile-launched airburst proof test that Polaris weapons system launched from the submarine USS Ethan Allen. The second, called Swordfish, was a test of the Navy ASROC system, a rocket-launched anti-submarine nuclear depth charge. As in previous test series in the Pacific, a joint military and civilian organization conducted these tests. The Joint Task Force 8, JTF-8, was made up of military personnel from all the services and civilians from the Department of Defense, the DoD, the Atomic Energy Commission, and the U.S. Public Health Service, and contractor organizations. Commanded JTF-8 was appointed by the Joint Chief of Staffs and reported to ABC as well as the JCS. And it was assigned overall responsibility for radiation safety. The RADSAFE branch, located organizationally in the Operations and Plans Office of Headquarters, JTF-8, responsible for overall control of monitoring and decontamination, ensuing radiological safety, or RADSAFE supplies and equipment, maintaining RADIAC instruments, procuring all film badges, developing and interpreting exposed badges, and maintaining cumulative radiation exposure records for everyone who was badged. These records were compiled and are extended in a document transferred to as the Consolidated List of Exposures. The branch also managed extensive off-site radiation surveillance network on 17 remote islands throughout the Pacific Ocean. Task groups, which were subordinate to JTF-8, had command responsibility for radiological safety within their own organizations. And these are the detonations in 1962. One of them was called Calamity. How about that? Because all but one of the shots were airburst, there was little or no fallout problem and no residual radiation area around the surface zero. Although Swordfish, the underwater shot, produced no fallout, it did create a short-lived radioactive base surge and a pool of radioactive water around the detonation. The base surge dissipated in less than an hour, and the pool dissipated after a few days. Yeah, shit. Think about that, too. What they tell us about radiation, They're saying that the water that was contaminated disappeared after a few days, and the shit that came out of the air was gone in an hour. That's what I mean. The whole nuclear weapon thing, you know. 2 Army men with over 3.0 rad exposure served with the unit with the decontaminated the aircraft involved in cloud sampling as much as were authorized. And all the Air Force personnel over 3.0 rads were associated with cloud sampling, crew maintenance, sample removal, and decontamination were also authorized an MPK of 20.0 rads before the operation started. The highest total exposure recorded in this group was 17.682 rads. This was also the highest for the entire operation. There were 19 other Air Force exposures over 10. Shit. 4 Navy personnel, recording over 3, were on USS Sioux, which was involved in collecting samples of weapons debris from the radioactive pool of water created by the underwater swordfish shot. This group was allowed 7. Evidence exists that many of the badges worn by personnel during Dominique were defectively sealed and recorded density changes due to the moisture, light, and heat, and in addition to nuclear radiation. A 1979-1980 reevaluation of 1.349 Dominique 1 film badges showed, or 1,349 Dominique 1 film badges showed that 45% exhibited some damage related to light, heat, and age due to defective wax seals. Environmental damage was observed on 98% of the badges, which had a developed density equivalent of over 0.4 gamma. These findings show, for example, that 1/3 of the USS Princeton exposures would actually read 0. The lack of any known activity during Dominique 1 that would result in exposure over 3, except for Sioux and the high correlation between environmental damage and high dose readings indicate most of these readings are higher than the exposure actually received. Nevertheless, all personnel have been assigned the recorded exposure reading and records maintained by the Navy. One of the Thor rockets being launched at Johnston Island with a nuclear payload burned on the launch pad. The high explosives in the nuclear warhead detonated, spreading alpha contamination around the launch complex, and it took several weeks to decontaminate and rebuild the launch complex. Stringent personnel safety measures were enforced during the cleanup. Yeah, that makes no sense whatsoever. They literally say that, there was very little exposure in some of the blast, and then the one that blows up on the launch pad. Yeah. U.S. nuclear target map, potential targets and safe zones. And, if you think that this, isn't necessary, man, I can tell you what. Asteroids, they give off massive amounts of radiation. It's just like a nuclear bomb hitting if an asteroid was to impact. And that's why I believe they are waiting on significant asteroid impact for World War III to officially begin, for the fighting to officially begin. And we've seen on the back of the $10 and the $100 showing the nuclear cloud hitting New York, followed by the tsunami. If you think about it, if the nuclear bomb was to hit right off in the Atlantic, up by New York, that's exactly what would happen. It would hit so hard that the water would vaporize and it would shoot the cloud, right, of radiation and all of that. And places that have been turned to glass and all of this shit historically, that we've found in modern history, I think were all impacts from asteroids as well. And then after the water was to come back, that would generate a super large tsunami. And I think that's what they do with all of this stuff. Deep Impact, the movie, they're showing that same scene that's on the back of that bill, right? So they're telegraphing this because they're trying to get us to manifest it, to create it. They want their prophetical events to happen, right? Because they're trying to bring back their Mashiach. Dark primitive asteroids zeroing in on the source of the impactor that wiped out dinosaurs. We have one coming into, move asteroids now before they become a threat, researchers argue. Right? You see a lot about asteroids. We had 2021 PDC, the exercise, where NASA and, world government agencies got together, and they weren't trying to prevent an asteroid. They were preparing for the wreckage after, the cleanup after, the disaster after, So it just goes to show that they don't think they have a chance in all of this. What would happen if the Earth suddenly stopped spinning? See, they're putting out a lot of this now, man. They're talking about the Earth's axis tilt has changed and all of this. But you see, mandating these for the military would send a powerful message. This is what I believe is going to really open the door for when things go sideways, right? If you've got, once you're plugged in, so to speak, into the transhumanist agenda, those radio frequencies control you, man. So if they've got the military under absolute control, imagine, the nightmare that would happen, to people as they went door to door through the Trace Act, trying to push this on people. And they wouldn't be themselves. They wouldn't feel guilt or remorse or anything. Because you got to remember, this is, it grows into the place of God, the pineal, because that's your magnetic pole that nanofibers do, right? So it's killing that, it's killing your spirit, essentially. And that hydrogel is invading your body, right? So it's hijacking your body, too. It's killing you and taking your body. Earth's inner core is growing more on one side than the other. See, and this is what I'm talking about. They're talking about pieces of a planet inside the Earth. The core is growing. The tilt on the axis has changed. All these things are telling you that we're seeing significant changes and nobody's paying attention. Largest known comet ever discovered. And we will be able to see it. Astronomers detected what is now considered the largest comet ever found, and it's 1,000 times larger than a typical comet. Massive comet named Bernoulli-Berenstein may now very well be the largest comet humans have discovered. And the team of astronomers from the University of Pennsylvania announced the discovery back in June. According to the announcement, the comet C-2014 UN-271 will make its closest approach to the sun in 2031. And they're saying we'll be able to see it. We have the privilege of having discovered perhaps the largest comet ever seen, or at least larger than any well-studied one, and caught it early enough for people to watch it evolve as it approaches and warms up. It has not visited the planets in more than 3 million years. Yeah. I'm really suspect on this one, guys. Just saying. Really suspect on this one and what it might actually be. The best place to ride out a global societal collapse is New Zealand, study finds. And if the skies were to darken, seas swell, and economies crumble, where would be the best place to ride out global civilizational collapse? In the southwestern Pacific, in a country with some 6 times as many sheep as people, according to a recent study. New Zealand could be one of the last places standing. Released this month in the Journal of Sustainability by researchers at Britain's Anglia Ruskin University, the study aimed to build understanding of which destinations could survive independently in the face of global disaster caused by the likes of climate change, a pandemic, a financial collapse, or other cataclysmic disruptions. Or as the paper puts it, which destinations could survive as nodes of persisting complexity in the face of a period of rapid, uncontrolled, and worldwide decomplexification. Decomplexification. Let's see if they have the actual paper here. A 2019 documentary called Hunt for the Bunker People saw underground hideouts in the city of Queenstown, reportedly purchased by wealthy one-percenters. 2 years before that, there was a political scandal after controversial Silicon Valley venture capitalist Peter Thiel was granted New Zealand citizenship after only 4 visits to the country. Facebook investor bought a 193-hectare estate on the shores of Lake Wanaka in 2015. The local residents told CNBC last year that the land was neglected and forlorn. See, they're all going there. So, I wonder why, right? I wonder why they didn't put this out there. You think about it. Researchers, let's see if we can... Here we go. An analysis of the potential for the formation of nodes of persisting complexity. Okay. Let's see if we can get the PDF here. There we go. Right here. Human civilization has undergone a continuous trajectory of rising socio-political complexity since its inception, a trend which has undergone a dramatic recent acceleration. This phenomenon has resulted in increasingly severe perturbation in the Earth system, manifesting recently as a global scale effect such as climate change. These effects create an increased risk of global decomplexification or collapse event in which complexity could undergo widespread reversal. Nodes of persisting complexity are geographical locations which may experience lesser effects from decomplexification due to having favorable starting conditions that may allow the retention of a degree of complexity. A short list of nations, New Zealand, Iceland, the United Kingdom, Australia, and Ireland, were identified as qualitatively analyzed in detail to ascertain their potential to form nodes of persisting complexity. New Zealand is identified as having the greatest potential. The analysis outputs are applied to identify insights for enhancing resilience to decomplexification or collapse. The globe-spanning, energy-intensive industrial civilization characterizes the modern era. And I'm going to put this to in the chat. Hi, morning in the UK. Good morning in the UK. I don't know if that's the right one to put in the chat either. Hold on, guys. This is the one. Sorry about that. I didn't give you the right one. Right here. This is where you can download it. And you can actually get it yourself and read it yourself too. Right there. Right there. Check this out. Scientists find 2 huge red rocks with complex organic matter in the asteroid belt that shouldn't be there. 203 Pompeia and 269 Justitia are thought to have moved into the belt from beyond Neptune at the start of the solar system. And there's 2 fucking big red rocks supposedly in the asteroid belt. Scientists have found 2 huge red objects in the asteroid belt that they believe are not supposed to be there, both of which have complex organic matter on their surfaces. These 2 asteroids, called 203 Pompeia and 269 Justitia, were discovered by JAXA, the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency. Pompeia is approximately 110 kilometers wide. And I don't have the whole article on this for some reason. But they have found 2 huge red rocks with complex organic matter in the asteroid belt that shouldn't be there. It kind of makes you wonder what they actually are. Pentagon watchdog warns of existential crisis and criticizes U.S. hubris in Afghanistan. And Afghanistan warns that the country's government could face an existential crisis and offered a highly critical assessment of the U.S.'s strategy and conduct throughout the nearly 20-year war, just weeks before the withdrawal of American troops is due to be completed. And, let me just say this, man. With the withdrawal in Afghanistan and Syria and all of this, man, it kind of makes you, wonder what the hell is really up with this, dude. And is the United States trying to, make it more believable or more realistic when they lose World War III? DARPA wants stealth autonomous vehicles to navigate in darkness and underground. I wonder why they want to be underground. Ever since autonomous vehicles have started taking off, sensors have also taken center stage as an essential component for the development of self-driving cars. Powerful illuminating systems are important for better navigation. However, this can become a problem in the case of military autonomous vehicles. And dude, DARPA is behind everything. So now not only have they terraformed and they brought out all this shit with the agenda, now they're behind the autonomous vehicles as well. And let's see where it says. The U.S. Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, DARPA, is working on making autonomous vehicles able to navigate in complete darkness by replacing active illumination with passive sensors that can go undetected. This passive 3D sensor would use the surrounding thermal light that is present in any type of environment. Called Invisible Headlights, DARPA's program is focused on quantifying the available information in ambient thermal emissions, defining what type of sensor design would be capable of collecting this information and developing the actual new sensors. And think about this too. If you're transhumanist, right? You're controlled by radio frequency and all of that. You don't need to see anything. You know what I mean? You don't need to see shit. You'll be connected to AI anyways. So the autonomous vehicle and all of that, man, like you'll be connected to that. It'll be doing the driving for you. You'll probably be able to see an infrared or some shit like that. Who knows, man? Who knows where all this is going? And I just want to point out, too, tremendous amount of particulates have been in the air. I mean, this is the most I've ever seen. Most I've ever seen, guys. I mean, ever. You can see the entire United States covered. They say this is Saharan dust, but, dude, this is so far. Look at this. This is not Saharan dust. This is coming from more than one place, and there's something very, very fishy about how much dust is raining down on the earth right now and covering everywhere, right? And also, like I said, these new thunderbolt clouds, as well as, all of the smoke that has been coming up into the sky. It's very, very fishy, man. I think we're really close to that celestial body or comet or whatever the hell it is, and we're seeing the effects. With the nuclear threat ever growing in our world full of politics and turmoil, you might wonder about the U.S. nuclear target map and where you are the safest. We might hope that the threat of a nuclear strike is minimal with appropriate relationships between nations, but taking a step to negate our dangers is a smart tactic. A year ago, Putin let the world know about the country's nuclear strength, and everyone is well aware that North Korea has its stash of nuclear weapons. What countries have warheads? And here's a general estimation. Russia, 6,850. United States, 6,550. France, 300. China, 280, which they are now building new missile silos. They have 2 new bases to build nuclear weapons. United Kingdom 215, Pakistan 145, India 135, Israel 80, North Korea 15. A nuclear attack would have devastating results. American Center for Disease Control and Prevention, otherwise known as CDC, is stating the public awareness campaign a workshop called Public Health Response to a Nuclear Detonation. And let me see if I can find one of those videos. Hold on, they got these videos by the CDC. Let's see if we can find it. I think this is it. One of them. They've got the one where the kids like playing outside and shit. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this. That one, isn't it? Oops. This is from Smokers. This isn't it. Damn it. I don't know where to find them, man. I don't know if you guys have ever seen them. They're the CDC commercials. And it literally shows like the kids playing outside. Ah, shit. This isn't just for professionals working on preparedness in the industry. CDC encourages everyone to learn how planning and preparation, nuclear detonation, is similar and different from other emergency response planning efforts. And what are the primary targets on the U.S. nuclear target map? Of course, the targets are speculation, but we can make some reasonable guesses as to possible strikes. We assume that a terrorist nation would want to cause the most deaths possible. More deaths equal more terror, and that's their end goal. Everyone already knows that the White House, federal buildings, Air Force bases, military bases, and targets. Modern Survival Blog made a popular nuclear target map that many preppers have used to pick safe spots. And we'll see if we can actually pull this map up. Yeah, we'll pull it up. And large cities and areas that might be a target: New York, Washington, D.C., Dallas, Fort Worth, Jacksonville, Florida, Miami, Florida, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Chicago, Houston, Phoenix, and Honolulu. In 1990, FEMA created a map with potential nuclear targets. And let's see if we can find that one too. One of them's got, like, you can look at right here. One of them has like, they're called primary, secondary, and tertiary targets. and it shows you in each state, like the different cities that are most likely to be hit, the top 3. Fallout pattern map for the U.S. Nuclear weapon target map. This is it. Potential nuclear attack targets. EMP. And what the hell? Some of this stuff ain't up here no more. It's so old. Let's take a look at this map. These are nuclear targets. If you look here too, that is where all the population centers is. And if you think about it too, man, you know, if this is a depopulation agenda, I would expect that, you know, bombs will be dropping strategically in population centers once the cataclysms begin, as part of the whole World War III shit, as well as some being detonated within the ground. And I wouldn't be surprised if they're, you know, if they put them, planted them all along the coast, in the fault lines. I mean, all kinds of shit when it comes to this. You've seen how nefarious their agenda has been and how much they want to call the masses. You know, I think it's going to be a fucking nightmare when we get to this part of the agenda. Honestly, going to be a nightmare. And we can only hope and pray that nuclear bombs aren't real, right? And that, you know, that is one of those things like them going to space. That is just bullshit, you know? And they've been using it as a fear tactic for a long time, you know, or hopefully. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. I can't even breathe. I got a sore throat and my nose is stopped up. I appreciate all of you guys for watching. And please hit the thumbs up or the like, whatever platform you're watching on. Please leave a comment. You know, after the video is over, it really helps with the algorithms. And share this, man. Share this link no matter what you're watching from. Share it from there. No matter what social media you're on, you're there anyway. So share it there. And if you guys can, please donate and support. This has been just the shittiest month ever for me, man. I've been gone half the month. So obviously, half the month I haven't been, you know, able to bring in any income. So I'm asking everybody to please help me out, donate and support if you can. I really do need it, and I really would appreciate it. And I'm very grateful for everybody that watches, everybody that takes the time to share, and everybody that will, you know, support and give. I do appreciate it so much. Thank you guys for everything. Will Vandermark, Celeste Donnelly, Phoenix I Am, Chicken Little, Graceful Heart, Splintered Sunlight, Gwendolyn Morales, thank you guys. Sally Smith, Blue Merle, you guys are awesome, man. I appreciate everything. Paul McDuff, D. Sir, Tim Hamby, Rudy Garcia, Michael Chaffin, I think. Yeah, so thank you guys so much. Is there smoke where you are? No, there's no smoke where I'm at. I live in Southwest Ohio. I don't see any smoke in the sky. The sun has been like red and stuff though. But we have no smoke here, so I haven't seen anything like that, or the air quality hasn't changed, you know, according to, you know, what I can tell, at least, right? So yeah, there's no smoke here or anything like that. And well, thank you. I appreciate my time and effort. Hey man, I'm serious. I don't know what the hell, but you know, it really feels like I'm ready to start next month, guys. Like, I really am. This has been a terrible month for me. A terrible month. I cut my foot so bad. It's been infected. I damn near lost my toes. Had such an infection. I mean, couldn't walk or nothing. You know, went to jail. I mean, Jesus, dude. It's just one thing after another this month. Yeah, and yeah, so, and it's hurt, like, my living situation and everything. And then I tried to do some witchcraft stuff last night, like, just to cover some occult books. And I mean, people are so fucking judgmental now. Like, I don't understand it. Like, seriously. You know? If you don't like it, don't watch it. I don't understand why people gotta be so fucking harsh. You know what I mean? Seriously. And just so... you know, I've never seen... I don't know if it's got to do with just the way things are going in the world. You know, but I have never felt like... you know, like, even people in my own community, man, like, I look on Discord, the comment section, people are just vicious now, and they attack over everything, every little thing. It's like, gosh, like, what has gotten into people, you know? And, not to mention, you know, like, that, you know, I've been targeted by, I don't know who the fuck it is. I assume it's the government or somebody in that vein, you know. But I experienced something super, super horrendous this month too, where somebody just basically tried to, ruin my whole life, man. Like, tried to set me up to ruin my whole life. And it's like, dude, all of this shit over a YouTube channel. And I can't wrap my head around it. I mean, seriously. You know, I go to jail, and, you know, I come out and I find that I have people that are, like, messaging, like, some of my bigger donors, and, you know, like, telling them not to support me and telling them terrible things about me. Just messaging the mother of my kids and trying to, like, you know, screw up me seeing my children. Like, dude, I don't fucking get it, man. I don't get it. All over a YouTube channel? Are you kidding me? You kidding me? And then try to, like, set me up for some shit to put, you know, to, like, ruin my life. It's just, I don't get it. I don't get why people want to hurt people. You know, especially people they don't even know. You know, like, these people, you know, it's, you know, and I know that some people have been paid over the years by data collection and stuff to fuck with me and all of that, but, you know, this took the cake this month, guys. I'm serious. You know, I've never seen anything like what I've seen over the last week or so. You know, and I wish I could come out and just tell everybody what had happened and all that, but I can't right this second. I gotta wait for, you know, to make sure, you know, everything smooths over, and, you know, it's been hard, man. It's been hard. So, but I do put all my heart and soul into this, and I do love what I do, and I love you guys, and I appreciate you guys. And just because some of those people are, you know, choose to do and say the things they do to me and about me and all of that, like, I know it's not everybody, and I know it's, you know, those few people, man, I feel bad for them. I do. I feel sorry for them. You know, you must be a miserable person. Honestly, you must be a miserable person to feel the need to attack other people. And how shitty your life must be to watch a person that you hate, you know? Like, I don't get it. And how, you know, and people got to live with themselves too. You know, accepting money or whatever else to go harm another person. You know, you've sold your soul. You know, you've sold your soul. And you got to live with that. So I feel sorry for those kind of people. Honestly. They're nasty parasites. Stay strong, says Autumn Sage. I'm trying. I'm trying. I mean, I'm just telling you guys, like, seriously. After, you know, 5 or 6 years of this, like, they send people to like pretend to be my friends and girlfriends and shit, guys. It's just fucked up. It's fucked up. I don't know nobody who has to deal with this shit. And it's like, what? For real? Over a stupid ass YouTube channel? You know what I mean? Like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Like, why? Why? But, yeah. Thank you guys for watching. Like I said, that's why you quit broadcasting. Well, I mean, a couple years back, I mean, I was a targeted individual, and I experienced the voice to skull and the directed energy weapons and the gang stalking, and that was horrible. That was a fucking nightmare. That was a nightmare, and I was miserable. You know, I wanted to kill my damn self at one point. It got so bad. And I almost did, you know. I almost did. I almost gave up. You know, but then, God intervened and showed me some things about it, and it really helped. And then it changed. The way that they started to target me changed. It went from, gang stalking and gaslighting and all of that to literally paying people to try to. I've had people I thought were my girlfriends that have been paid to be my girlfriend just so they could, like, put me in positions to crush me. Or, you know what I mean? And it's not like just crush me emotionally. Like put me in positions to really, really fuck my life over. Like, wow. You know, and you get to the point to where you're like, damn, I can't trust nobody anymore. You know? I can't trust nobody anymore. And I don't know if it's because when I was younger, you know, the Navy and the top secret shit and all of that, if that's why, I don't know. You know, I don't have that big of a following to where I'm, super influential or something, you know. So I don't get it. Well, I may not be alone. Trust myself and my intuition. Hey, you know what? That's the thing. I dreamed about the shit. The person that done this last stuff, I dreamed about it. It was a very, very straightforward dream too. Like, I mean, it was very symbolic, but at the same time, I knew who the person was that the dream was about because there were so many specific things, and it was warning me big time. And my dumb ass trust a fucking tarot reading instead of myself. I have a damn dream, literally, that shows me, like, don't go there. You know, you're going to get screwed. And I didn't listen to it, and I listened to a fucking tarot reading. And the tarot reading was right, too. But it was just like a perverse way of being right. So everything that it said would happen did happen, but it was like upside down. It was like inverted. It was fucked up. It was like it happened, but not in good ways. And the dream was like warning me. It was showing me, like, don't do this. I got bit by a brown recluse spider twice before I hung out with the person too. Twice. The day I was supposed to, the first time, I got bit on the neck. And then a couple weeks later, the day before I got bit on my Achilles heel, of all places. My Achilles heel, how symbolic is that? You know, like, God was trying to help me. God was trying to help me. God has helped me. God's protected me from so much I can't even tell you. I should be dead right now. And I mean, I've been poisoned, everything, while doing this. And God was trying to help me. I just wasn't listening, man. Just wasn't listening. Sometimes, and that's the thing. Like, that's my problem. I try to put myself in the driver's seat. When my life is going good, it's like, oh, I got this now, God. You can chill. I got this. I'm good. And that's the time where, that's the time where we should, double down on God, because He's making our lives good. and giving us, happiness or making us prosperous or whatever it is, But whenever you're flat on your face, I can tell you what, man, you're closer to God than you ever have been. And, I do apologize if my personal life has affected the communities or the content or anything. I apologize for that. I haven't tried to let it, but I couldn't help it. So much happened this month, and some was out of my control. So I feel terrible about that. But, like I said, when you're down, you're at your lowest, you'll never be closer to God. Never. Because you need Him. And you know you need Him. And you have nowhere else to turn. No one else to turn to. And sometimes I feel like He lets me get knocked down a peg. That way I can get back on track. That way I can get back to where He wants me to be. Because He's got a plan for all of us. Each and every one of us. And He corrects the ones He loves. So, even though I experienced some really terrible things recently, I didn't die. I'm still here. And it was a wake-up call, I think. A wake-up call. And I'm grateful that He loves me enough to even do that, honestly. And I know that, all I've lost and all I lack, He'll restore that, and, He'll take care of me. And He'll take care of all of you too, man. Like we just, it's faith. It ain't about religion. It ain't about religion. People don't like the way I talk or the way I look and all of that, man. You got to get over those things. You got to understand, like, God's inside of you. He's in your heart. He's inside of you, each and every one of us. And, pretending to be pious and religious and all of that doesn't impress Him. He knows it's bullshit. He knows it's bullshit. And having a real relationship, I talk to Him like one of my homies, or like my dad, because that's the way I see Him. It's like my Heavenly Father, So, thank you guys. Thank you so much, man. Yeah, it is. Our journeys are very different. And you know what? Each one of them are just as important, though. Just as significant. A lot of people say, oh, I can't find my purpose or this and that. You might be living in your purpose. Your purpose might just be to raise your beautiful children, to love your husband or wife, to be kind to your neighbors. You don't know, man. It might just be to radiate fucking joy and beauty into the world. That might be your purpose. Don't ever sell yourself short because you don't think it's big enough by the world's standards, right? By the world's standards. The world says, oh, if you're doing something for God, it's got to be huge, right? Everybody's got to see it. Everybody's got to know it. I'm taking it to the world. Well, that's the world's way of looking at it. God don't play that game, To Him, the little things are important. To Him, the things that are real are important. All the YouTubing and all of that, man, that shit's bullshit. Look at all these people on here, man. Almost 99% are frauds. Bad people. If I could take it all back and do it all over again, I would do what I was told to do, called to do, but I would do something different, I would do something different. I would have a family or something, because I think that's bigger and more important and better than anything else. That's what life is about, loving people and connecting with people. So don't forget to do that, and don't forget to appreciate those that you have around you, because not everybody has people around them. So, alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Like I said, please share, please like, please comment, and if you can, please donate support and help me out. Alright guys, Jesus is the truth, way, and life. God bless you all. I love you, and I'll see you next time. Peace.